Hello everybody, give me a minute. I'm not used to the new timing. I don't know why I thought it was still 11:30. Funny part is that all my give me a second, I'm just getting the focus properly. There we go. All right. Yeah, I don't know about you, but my getting used to the time change. Okay, I forgot to do something. That is my lights. Just a minute. It happens to the best of us. Anyway, so today is the International Women's Day, and to be very honest, I spent quite a bit on Amazon to try and find some of those old style Wiccan polymer clay molds. Hi Elaine, thank you for making it, because that's what I was going to do, but unfortunately I couldn't find any anymore. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. It's the the spiral goddess and stuff like that. Hi Debbie. But apparently they are not in vogue anymore, so I guess we will do something else. There's another thing that I was preparing for you, and that was a napkin transfer. And unfortunately, with the napkin transfer, I did get this beautiful set of napkins for transfer. They are in my influencer store. As you can see, they are gorgeous, and there are like 20 of them, and each of them is a different pattern. The problem is that they are not a good quality for transfer. They are initially they are listed for decoupage, but they are not a good quality for transfer. And I'm going to show you, because I've been trying them. They were going to be part of a separate uploaded video, but anyway, once I did the transfer, this is how it looks like. It's all, you can see the little bits and pieces of the crisscross here, and the actual design is not there anymore. So I've been thinking and thinking, how can I do this, because they are just so adorable. I would hate for them to go to waste. So the way that I'm going to do, I'm going to save them, quote unquote. So this is just to show you for a earring. So you see, I did get this off, and then I'm going to grab the white as soon as I find it. Yes, I put it on the other side, not here. And you don't want it too wide, right? Too thick, because we are going to put resin on top of it, and we don't want it to be super thick, because there's going to be the resin too. I've been working on on all kinds of stuff. This is something that I did last evening with my members. If you want to see it, you'll have to become a member. But anyway, I've been super upset, and I have Seamus whining all over the place. So I'm going to choose this. I've been super upset with my hosting. And what happened was I used to be with Hostmaster, which was an affiliate of Bluehost. And then I found out that actually Bluehost is a whole bunch of shady stuff. There's this parent company that owns several so-called hosting companies, but all of them, they are basically and essentially on the same data center, under the same, so this is some bacon bond, the same company thing, but just under several different names. Anyway, so my old hosting company got taken over last year in May by the big guys. And okay, that was fine. And then yesterday, because my hosting is paid monthly, so I'm going to place as much as I can out of the napkin. And when I go to pay, it was more than double, because I used to pay $20.99 a month, and now they were asking for $54.99. So I called, and it was saying, that I had so many gigabytes out of unlimited. And I get this Indian accent guy on the phone. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that Indians are about the best in the world when it comes to software. But this guy was an epitome of shadiness, blatant lies, and rudeness. I cannot even begin to tell you. First of all, I asked, why do I have to pay so much? And you're like, well, ma'am, we saw that you have 247 gigabytes, and that means you'll go over 250 soon. And that's our next tier. And I said, no, I have 245 out of unlimited. Well, we don't support unlimited anymore. And I said, then why do I see on my screen here 247 out of unlimited? Well, I don't know what to tell you, but this is what you have to do. And I said, when did you do this? Well, we noticed this in November, and we didn't stop your plan because... I said, because of what? And you did move me to another plan without my acceptance, that is illegal. And anyway, so I was on the phone for over 40 minutes, getting to the point that everything that I was asking him, he would not answer the question. He would go on a tangent, and then he would tell me something, and when I would ask him about what he said, oh, I didn't say that. You just told me this a minute ago. Oh, no, I didn't say that. Anyway, so I finally ended the phone call because I realized there was no reason to try and talk to him anymore. Not to talk about the fact that at one point he was like, maybe you have problems hearing. I didn't say that. That's when I decided to stop it. So I went and contacted Bluehost on Facebook, they replied that they were going to do. And then basically they answered the exact same thing that the guy said. And guess what? Now on the back end in my account, it didn't say anymore 247 out of unlimited. It said 247 out of 250. So obviously it was super shady. So I decided to completely, and I didn't have time because it was obviously just a few hours till midnight by the time I got around to it. So all I could do was to just copy contents and I'm going to be opening the website on a plain blogger because I don't have a membership anymore and I don't have an e-shop anymore, so it doesn't really warrant to have to pay for hosting. But just in case, I did redirect the domain, but apparently it's not propagated yet, and I guess they might give me issues about that. And I fully plan to switch my domains to GoDaddy. But I'm not going to do it yet because, for example, Kalyana Design domain, I need to renew it in May. I don't see why I would have to pay extra just to renew it right now. So if you see in my About on the channel a different website, when you click on it, that is the reason why. But anyway, so that was my second stay late night lately, because the night before I had to stay up until after midnight to make sure that we don't have any tornadic storms coming close to my area. As you probably know that there were a lot of storms, not just here in Oklahoma, but also in Michigan. Apparently the ones in Oklahoma fortunately didn't affect anybody. Now I'm doing this with my X-Acto knife. Normally what I would do, I would bake this first so that the napkin would be glued to the polymer clay, and then I would use just plain scissors. But obviously we don't have time for that. So now I'm going to resin it. So yeah, I'm kind of out of sorts for the whole day. The time change, the whole weather thing. Today is cold again, and no, today is warm. Yesterday it was lower 50s. Today is supposed to be 77. So it's a whole, it plays crazy stuff on my pain level. The joys of getting older. To be very honest, I had that guy I talked to on the phone gave me the feeling that he was a misogynist, because at one point in the very beginning, he was like, "Who's the web developer for this domain?" I said, "I am." And he snorted. So I guess he had some issues about women having any kind of knowledge about software. Okay, so we are good with this. Let me get it up. And then we are going to do a very simple gold bezel. And with this we'll have absolutely fabulous little earring. Of course you can make pendants, you can make all kinds of other stuff. So just a plain white gold thing, and obviously we'll do a backing to it. And for the, let's see, what can we do? Let me just do a simple, if I can remove this from here, a simple thread. Of course, armor roll, and then if it wants to come off, I did use armor roll, and I guess it doesn't want to come off properly. Let's see. It did come off. There we go. Something very simple to give someone. Very simple and very delicate. So I simply cut one straight and one in a diagonal like this. So it will go like this. About this wide should be good. Might need to be a little bit thicker. We'll see here in a minute. And as I said, I would first bake it, and that way you'd be able to get all the little fringes here off without a problem. And gently, now we gently coerce the clay to cooperate. Yeah, this should have been a little bit longer. Let's pull it. Oh, no, I need to do this again. I am so sorry. I'm going to do it a little bit thicker. Actually go the other way because I think it might get better. And by the other way I mean in length. doesn't want. I don't know what's wrong with this clay. Something is definitely wrong with this clay. Let me grab another piece of clay. Never gave me this kind of issues before. And there we go. I apologize. You know how it is when something goes wrong, it's like everything goes wrong at once. Little bit of softener. And I said a little bit and I put here a whole bunch. It is, and with every day's other issues, you know. I mean, I know that a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about price of things and all that. It's driving me. But anyway, let's do a little bit of trivia because I was thinking about some stuff this morning. And I wonder how does everybody else feel. So let me see. Remember that the chat, I see the chat with a few seconds delay because I've set it so you wouldn't have to buffer if you have a slower connection. But anyway, what is something that you were born with and you don't have anymore? Let me see what everybody no, and please don't say stuff like my innocence and stuff like that. I'm talking about body parts because I thought it's funny. Yeah, I go for that. Myself, I have the same issue. I don't know if my yeah, that would be a common thing for people for ladies our age. I don't know if in my case the boobies thing would go because I do have, because I had reconstruction, but they are not the original ones, so I guess that works. I'm gonna just use, you can use, remember I was telling you, you can use any kind of texture you want. Alright, so I'm going to put it in the, yeah, let's get it in rings. Because sometimes it's stuff that you wouldn't even expect. I saw this kind of game played once, and a lot of people were chiming in with my knees, my one of the most extreme ones was my jaw. That person had car accident and they had to replace part of their jaw. And I was reading that and I was like, well, I don't have anything to complain about because I'm not that bad. And probably I'll have to, my knees will go at one point. Okay. Again, I'm going in a diagonal. Yep, mine too. My hearing, my smell are still good. And the funny part is that I keep getting in the mail all kind of invitations to free lunches for these hearing aids and those hearing aids. And I have no problem with my hearing, but my neighbor, who's deaf as a brick, never gets them. There we go. So yeah, I was going to talk a bit about, so see, that's a main thing. Add the curve here. And remember, I was telling you before that if you use wax, you can cover with wax the little line here. There we go. And then the next thing to make it nice and pretty, and if you have this kind of stuff from Tiny Pandora, it's okay. If not, you can always use the handle of a paintbrush to just bevel down the bezel. And you don't, if you don't want to, you don't even have to put texture. You can just get it all beveled. Just make sure that it is against the main cabochon. There we go. And then of course you can place some wax or perfect pearls, but I will do this after it's baked. I'm just doing this now so you can see how it looks like. And of course you can use instead of regular gold, you can use antique gold, and it will look more like a vintage antique. But I'll be very honest with you, wherever I am, if I'm encountering a pretty napkin, I'm going to get it. Okay, so for this I would use, this is how it looks like with aged brass from Art Alchemy. But I want to show you the Firebird as well. It's a much stronger, it's almost orange, much stronger goldish thing. But I think that it makes everything look more, especially when it comes to this type of practically Rococo style, it fits better with the theme if you use a bolder gold. See, so it is practically, I'm going to refocus so you can see better. Let's see how zooming works. If it's good enough or if I need to refocus. And there we go, this is how it looks like. I think it's a very nice vintage style thing. And of course you can use, you'll have to put a backing on it. But you can use a pinch bail, or you can use one of those eye screw things between this and the backing. But as you can see, it is quite dashing and quite rococo. And again, you can use whatever texture you want. Oh, that works great. That would really work well. That would really work well. Let me see. Another thing that we can do. Let me put this away. Check on here. Stuff. I'm going to use one of the cutters from Trish, from Polyclay Plate. And please don't forget, if you purchase anything from her, please don't forget to use my affiliate link. That will allow me to do more gift cards things. Okay, so let me grab another mirror. And I'm going to use for this two different things, and that is, one of them will be the plain gold, it to be a little bit on the thinner side, not the thickest possible, thickest imaginable. Okay, and I'm going to cut me at about the size of this. And this might have a little bit of an Egyptian ring to it, but I have, and I'll show you a little trick. I have a whole bunch of little pieces, bits and pieces of blue, and so a lighter blue, a darker blue. Actually, I'm gonna use just a little bit of this. And I want to do something with them, but I'm not entirely sure what. So I have a navy blue that should work good. And this should be just fine. So I am going to chop it. And chop it really fine. You need to. Yeah, that is really nice. Can you, where did you get it? Did you get it on Amazon? Or somewhere around town? Do I have any? No, I was looking if I had any translucent at hand, but I don't. So, sorry, but it needs to be very tiny chopped. As I said, this whole time change, it's not like I didn't know it was coming, but unfortunately, and the whole thing with my hosting kept me. And don't get me wrong, if they wouldn't have done such a shady thing, I'd have continued. If they would have told me, oh, you know, we don't support this anymore, but we have this, or if you want to reduce the size, we can go, you know. But no, they didn't do that at all, so I don't want to have any kind of business with that. So I can put all my articles that I had on the website on Blogger, and there's that. Because again, with the membership not being on the website anymore, now I'm going to look for a texture that would allow a nice satin slice. I'm trying to think which would be the best. Okay, so if you go to Hobby Lobby, look in the stamping aisle for those little dotting tools that Elaine found. I know not all Hobby Lobbies all over the country have the same merchandise, but who knows? Maybe somebody else will get lucky. Okay, so we have now a nice lapis. And by the way, if you look in my playlists on my channel, in the imitation gemstones, you can find a very nice faux lapis. Actually, jewelry set. It's a bracelet and earrings that were inspired by, I don't know if you know about the Constantinos jewelry line. I absolutely love them. They always look vintage, and they are a combination of yellow gold and white gold that are just fabulous. Now, let me see what I got here. This doesn't work very good. Oh. Let's see this. I know it's a little difficult, but what you need is look for a very tiny one. I'm going to look for this one. What you need is something that's got thin lines. Doesn't really matter what kind of lines there are. So I'm going to cut this into pieces. This should work. Poured almost the whole thing. Let's see. Why I prefer the cosmetic sponge is that sometimes the clay can get stuck to your finger and you lift it when you're doing this. I really need another to change my cosmetic sponge because it started getting all crumbly on the edges. And yes, I have a whole bag of them, but yeah, didn't go all the way. I'm gonna have to come back again. But yeah, it's going to go to 77 today, but last night was 37, so it takes a while to get warm. Alrighty, so again, thin slices. I don't know how many I'm going to need, but I want to have enough. And I'm going to grab a thin blade this time, just to be on the safe side. Yeah, not tomorrow, tomorrow's Monday. Tuesday we are again under tornado threat. As I said, with the warm weather coming so early this year in my area, I said that I was worried that we're gonna have a bad tornado season, and it started very early. So I am pretty worried that it's not going to be nice. I do have a few spots. The rest it's because of the combinations. The blue will not show very well. Let me get this. Yeah, this one, that's not a good idea to use this. Yeah, that was a mess. Never mind. Stupid thing. That was not a good paper to do this. And I have a whole bunch of stuff to do outside. Because this year I decided to redo my cottage garden. Well, not to the extent it used to be, but my neighbor who helps me all the time said he was going to help me, because with the price of stuff being what it is, I'd rather have some. Okay, this does not want to cooperate with me. I'm gonna get something else. Let's get this again because it's the easiest thing to do. And as I said, with the prices being the way they are, and with me being diagnosed with diabetes, I don't want to have to, because it would be good to, not eat to not gain weight, but the problem is that it's not an option when you have diabetes. Not eat, that is. Why I'm not very happy with using big textures for satin slice is that when you have a small texture, when you apply the other no, it's something with the clay today. I don't know, maybe it's too humid or something, but it's definitely something wrong with the clay today. Because this is unbelievable. Let's try this again. Yeah, in case you didn't know, humidity in the air can affect the clay, and I had my windows open because I like to burp the house from time to time, especially because when the heat keeps going on and on and on, it's getting so humid in the house, so dry in the house, that I wake up with my nose stuffy dry. I cannot blow it because it's dry, but so it's horrible. Okay, so I got this. Place it here and place this exact same spot here. It's nothing really. Okay, I do need a piece of. I can leave it like this. Anyway, this second part of the live is not as good as I thought it would be, but we have the other one done. And just to show you that you don't need a whole bunch of fancy stuff to do fancy stuff. Like this looks like a very nice oriental thing. You cannot say what it is. And we have two things that can be done for little gifts for Women's Day if you didn't make any, and for the future. Obviously, it's not like you can give gifts only on International Women's Day. So again, apologies for being late, for being in such a woof. It looks like I'm always in some kind of crisis. Trust me, it's not pleasant. But I'll definitely see you next Sunday with God's help. And I wish you a good week. And thank you for coming, for being here, and thank you for being my subscribers. Thank you. Have a wonderful week. Bye.